Well. Welcome into the Ryan Ripken Show. Happy Monday. Hope you've had a great weekend. And if you're a baseball fan from Baltimore, just a fan of the Baltimore Orioles, you are humming the most you have been humming all year long. Why? Well, the Orioles didn't just have a 4-game winning streak that they were able to have going into the All-Star break. Well, how about they extend that to 7? And now the series in Boston with the even hotter Red Sox will take place, and that's become the series of the year in Major League Baseball. We'll discuss that and preview it on this show, but we also have two great guests that will be joining us today from the football space. Well, first will be former offensive coordinator here in Baltimore, Marc Trestman, which will join to reminisce and then talk about his book, Teaching the Game. And then in the 4 o'clock hour, well, the Ravens had a center signed just this past week. Ethan Pochich is his name now. We're not having Ethan, but we're having a guy that knows a little thing about, well, a little bit more of the background of the Ravens' new center, and that is Hall of Famer Joe Thomas. And Joe also talk about what else he's getting into in the farm industry. And I can attest to what Joe is cooking up there. He's got some great things rocking, but he can give you all the insights. And then we'll close out the show again on some of the thoughts leading into what should be a massive week with baseball. And as we get through this week, it's 1 week closer to trade deadline time. We are under 2 weeks now until trade deadline day is upon us. So if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show. We're live Monday through Friday right here on YouTube, X, and Facebook. We're on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcast after the episode's over. And you can follow all the social handles for opportunities to win some giveaways this week from AutoStream, as well as catch all of our content at Ryan Ripken Show on X, Instagram, and Facebook. Woo! All right. I'll take a moment to decompress here because now a guy that's going to have that nervous energy, he's excited, he's stressed, and maybe he's been waiting for this moment all season. I think there's Zach Bollinger somewhere. Bolly.
How's it going?
Oh, you're calm.
Job's not finished. Job's not finished. Hey, we got here. We gave ourselves an opportunity. This is just the beginning. You got 7 games to make this an important series, and you did it. Now you gotta prove it. We talked about it extensively a few times that after the Cubs series, you had the Royals struggling going into the break. Then you had 4 series. Or 3 series, and I'm not including the Braves because they're in the NL, against teams that are right around you in the wild card race. Taken back to that Royal series, you had a 12-game set that you really feel like you had to win. Those are 6-0 in the first 6, so setting yourself up for success. Let's just see if they can keep it rolling.
We'll see if they continue to roll, or maybe they keep rocking and rolling. You don't like that pun, Rock? Too bad. How you doing, Rocco DeSangro, everybody?
It's a tough one, Zach. We got to do something with this guy over here. Great to be here. Great Monday. Got my salted caramel cream cold brew. Usually a black coffee guy. Decided, you know what? Feeling a little frisky today. So ended up getting that. Tastes great. I feel great. I'm caffeinated. Hopefully not too caffeinated because we know what happens when you get a little bit too much caffeine in me. But good to be with you guys. Good to be with everyone that's tuning in today. And great show in store. I think the caffeine's hitting me already, Rip.
Well, I'll also say this. For someone that says, oh, all you have is black coffee, every day when I was in Philly, Zach, I got this man a honey bear latte. and if that doesn't scream.
I was going to say, Rocco, I've never seen you drink
a just normal black coffee.
It's I do it occasionally.
And also, we have intern Nate behind the sticks. Nate?
I drink black coffee every single morning. How you guys doing?
Look at that. Rocco, that's a guy that drinks.
I got a nice Keurig in my kitchen. Every single morning I use it.
There you go. I respect that, Nate.
Thank you.
See, very respectable there.
Yeah. So don't come at us with that. Oh, that's all I drink. Even though
it was for a while, and now I'm basic white girl. Is what it is.
Dude, you can't put anything in your coffee after the age of 18.
Listen, yes, you can, Nate. And that's such a tired argument because people say, oh, my God, like, if you don't drink coffee for the taste, you don't really like it. That's bullshit.
Dude, I don't like the taste of coffee, but I suck it down every single morning because it's black coffee. That's the point.
Do you also eat salad for the leafy greens taste, or do you put
I do
dressing
not. But I drink black coffee. I drink black coffee because I don't want to drink sugar in the morning. If I drink sugar in the morning, I'm gonna feel awful the rest of the day.
And he'll be all jacked up on Mountain Dew. Nate, what movie?
Dews, baby.
Great. You know what? You were doing so good. It's Talladega Nights. You did good, Nate. Rocco, it's okay. And anyone out there, whatever floats your boat, whatever you want to have, whatever gets you through the Monday, that is all that matters here on the Ryan Ripken Show. And we got a lot of things to talk about. So, guys, before we get to this game, we got to do a little housekeeping here. And, Zach, you know the drill. We appreciate you and
we appreciate CQ.
And guys, it is hard to believe that the fall semester is almost here. And as you're getting ready to go back to campus, make sure your financial house is in order. And CQ offers a free 45-minute financial wellness checkup. And checkups are for anyone, even if you're not a CQ member. Trained financial counselors help you review your current situation and chart a path forward to reaching your goals. They can help you with topics like budgeting, saving goals, debt management, student loan, and much more. Schedule your free checkup at cqmd.org/schedule-n-an appointment/. And CQ, proud sponsor of the Ryan Ripken Show. I know a lot of people are probably, if we got into this, would say the coolest thing from their weekend or the moments probably would be around the Orioles have won games. Or if you're a fan of the World Cup, maybe we could talk about the halftime show. I loved it. Apparently, Wayne Rooney hated it. But that's not my cool moment of the day here. So I'll stop. Bali, why don't you kick it off? Your cool moment of the weekend was.
Yeah, I think my cool moment of the weekend was a cool moment for everyone not named John Harbaugh or Giants fans. Because while maybe it was cool to see the recovery of Cam Scatterbo, you're not feeling great about the decision-making at all once again. For those who don't know, Cam Scatterbo coming off a gruesome leg injury where at one point his leg was going one way and his shin was going the other way. And he has since recovered, and the Giants are getting ready to hopefully have him back at full strength sometime this year. And at FanFest, Scatterbo, well, he showed off his new and improved leg. So let's just take a – I don't even know what to say. This
can't teach that energy.
This right here, like everything about this, I would pay more money than I will ever make in my life to see John Harbaugh's reaction the first time he saw this video.
Zach, can you imagine? Imagine John Harbaugh sitting down at dinner with his family.
Mm-hmm.
One of his family members just scrolling through social media. Hey, did you see your starting running back for this year and what he's doing? And just Harbaugh having what are we going to do with this guy? Like an oh shit moment. That might be one of the dumbest things I've ever seen someone do coming off a fresh injury that just ended your season the previous year. Like that on a list of do nots in professional sports, that's got to be at the top. Like, don't understand it at all.
Well, I'll say this. He's fearless. And it takes guts, Rocco. And you know what? We need guts. If you're a Giants team, you need guts out there. You need to be fearless, but you also have to be available to play. And so, Jim, if that was bad, we were going to have a lot of different issues there. But luckily for Cam Scatterbo, he's good to rock and roll. He just said he normally lands it. Take that for what it will. But I guess I can't wait. The presser, Zach, which will come out, that Harbs will say, oh, you love it. I wish he wouldn't do that. But, we love the intensity, and that's code for let's try not to do this in public ever again. Rock, what was your cool moment from this weekend?
My cool moment for this weekend with the World Cup taking center stage, it was something that an Orioles pitcher ended up doing that kind of stole the spotlight there. Check this out. Comebacker to Brandon Young, kicks it, catches it, almost like a hacky sack move, and then throws it to first for the out. You don't see that in baseball too often, but to have that hand-eye coordination there and to be able to do that and get the out, pretty incredible play right there and something you don't see every day. And the Orioles social media, fantastic job that they do. The caption on that video was, "We have Messi at home." And they do. That's incredible. So pretty cool moment there. Caught my eye for sure. And as just a fan of both sports, it was really cool to see. So,
yeah, I mean, and I see our boy Zach Lowther talking about how casual, nonchalant that was. I mean, yeah, that was truly using the toe, kicking it up in the air, and no panic. You know, like you hear the phrase as an athlete or coaches will tell you, hey, don't panic out there. We're going to be prepared. And when something goes wrong, no, don't panic. And that actually would be a phrase that's thrown around in the baseball world a lot is no panic, no panic. Well, BY just had zero panic. He just looked up, ball was there, and he got the out. And if that also isn't a microcosm for how his season has gone so far, nothing phases him. He gets on the mound. Whatever happens, happens. Good, bad, or ugly. But typically when he's on the mound, they win. They won yesterday and helped complete the sweep. And the reason why Brandon Young also, hey, Brandon, we need you to pitch a day early because, Bradish, we had to extend him. So, we're going to give him an extra day. Just kidding, Bradish. You're a good kid. You owe everyone at the Ryan Ripken Show a couple of dinners here moving forward. But Brandon Young's moved up a start. Doesn't matter. He goes out there and performs, and now the Orioles are riding a 7-game win streak. Rock, that's a cool moment. Proud of you on that. My cool moment to stay in baseball, I don't know if I've seen this in real time. I know as a player, as an athlete, when you are playing baseball, you want to have sunglasses available. And I understand that how it goes, you don't want to wear your sunglasses at all times because you think it might hinder you seeing the ball. And believe it or not, sometimes the glare can mess with you. So we've seen guys leave their sunglasses on their hat during plays. Never before have I seen mid-play a player specifically put on sunglasses while tracking a fly ball. And that happened in Philly just the other day. Can we pull that up real quickly? That's Brandon Young again, right here. So if you're looking at it, it's the ball is in the air. He's tracking the ball, and he goes, you know what? It is really sunny out here. So I'm going to not panic. I'm going to put my glasses on mid-fly ball, and let me see if I can catch this puppy. Guys, that to me is so awesome. Also, a little bit reckless for the fact of maybe we should have put the glasses on before if we were having that trouble.
And they're there for a reason.
What?
I said, they're there for a reason. Absolutely.
Yeah. But, man, hey, maybe the phrase today is no panic. No panic whatsoever.
What are you doing as a pitcher if you just induce a pop-up fly ball to right field, I guess, and you turn and you see your right fielder while the ball's in the air trying to put his sunglasses on? You're probably not feeling very confident in that ball being caught. But, hey.
Yeah, well, he got the job done. And, the Phillies – the Orioles will see this team in a little bit of time as this stretch of games. The Orioles got Boston this series. Then they have upcoming with the Braves. They will have the Phillies. They'll have the Tigers. And then, ladies and gentlemen, we're at the trade deadline, and we'll find out a lot of what happens. And a reminder, the Orioles sit 2 games behind the Red Sox going into this series. And the Red Sox have winners of not just 7 in a row, not 8, not 9, not 10, how about 13 as they just dismantled the Tampa Bay Rays in Boston. So no team is hotter than Boston as Baltimore heads up there. We'll get into more of the baseball conversations because we want to do that justice. But we're excited to get to talk to one of our guests. So, Mark, if you're good, you just let me know behind the scenes. Give me a thumbs up if you're ready to rock and roll early. You tell me. And if you need more time, we're good on that side as well. You're good to rock? Give me a thumbs up, Mark. Boom. Well, perfect. Well, we were going to do this last week, but spending time with friends is the most valuable thing. I try to tell things, it's the relationships, but I'm more importantly concerned with how the golf game went. But we're going to talk a little bit about teaching the game of football, not just golf. Well, let's bring on, you guys remember him in Baltimore, his time here as a coordinator, but longtime coach, Marc Trestman. Mark, can you hear me?
Ryan, thanks for having me. I wore the golf. Guys seem to be wearing hats today, so I threw my golf hat on. Didn't have to wash my hair this morning, so it's all good.
Well, perfect. Well, hey, first things first, how did we swing it with the buddies this past week?
Well, you know how that is. Some good and some bad. I'm just happy to have the time to play and enjoy the friendships. That's what the game's all about. I don't keep score anymore. I went from keeping score to keeping score in my head to not keeping score at all. I've conditioned myself because it just takes the joy away when you start putting pencil to paper and keeping score. So I'm enjoying learning the game. I didn't take it up until probably 21 or 22 at the pandemic. So I enjoy playing. Thanks for asking. And great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you taking time, and I'm glad you can. I mean, what I think start to realize in life, in the professional sports ranks, when you dedicate and you sacrifice a lot of time, you don't necessarily have the time that you would with those friends. I had that in baseball for myself. My wife says I got to be careful of saying the word retired when I was 27. When I stopped playing professional baseball, that opened up that I had a little bit more of my summers, and I had chances to spend time with friends and family in moments that I didn't have. For you, Coach, how many years have you spent coaching for those that don't know your journey?
Well, it started in 1980 as a volunteer while I was in law school at the University of Miami. Graduated law school, and Howard Schnellenberger offered me a full-time coaching job, coaching the quarterback. So it's been a long time. There were a couple breaks in between. A few perceptual failures, some firings along the way, but all that, helped me write this book because you learn by your mistakes, you learn by your failures as much as maybe more than you learn from your success. So just talking about golf, back to golf again, when you're working 24/7 and you're raising two daughters, you got barely enough time to do anything else. So golf didn't come into play till just recently, and it's not an easy game to learn, but I'm enjoying it.
Oh, talk about testing the mental side. That will test you to your limits. Golf, baseball say the same, but your journey going back to being a volunteer coach, and maybe actually you're a good person to ask, and then would love to talk about the book Teaching the Game, because I think it all ties in. But if we're going back to a younger Marc Trestman during those college years, and we always try to give more context, and one of our partners here, CQ, wants to help with financial literacy, helping people on their journey. When you were there, was that one of your first jobs then, was being a volunteer coach when you were coming out of college there?
Yeah, I mean, I spent most of my younger days working at my dad's bar, bussing tables, washing dishes, doing whatever my dad needed to help around. It was a working man's place. So I learned great work ethic from my dad. I dedicated the book to him and to the coaches and players that have helped me learn the game. But that was my first coincidental meeting with, an assistant coach while I was studying for exams. And we started talking football, and to make a very long story short, a week later, I was a volunteer. And 18 months later, I was coaching the quarterback and Bernie Kosar in a national championship game. It happened very, very fast. Howard Schnellenberger saw something in me I didn't see in myself, hired me. Jimmy Johnson, I worked for Jimmy for a year, and then Bud Grant came out of retirement and hired me on his staff. So it was a very fast track from, somebody who was just, trying to get his law degree, loved football, was clerking for a judge at the time, trying to make a few extra dollars, was going to take the bar and do personal injury litigation. And it was a coincidental meeting at 5:00 in the afternoon that turned a life in the law into a life as a coach.
It's funny how that works out, and I love hearing the stories of that, of how people got going and where it began. We talked to Dabo Sweeney about a month and a half ago, and talking about where he started, and then you look up and there's Coach Sweeney, the national champion, where initially he's like, I don't know if I want to do this coaching thing. I love football, just like in your circumstance. But my guess is, Mark, you had, when you started, you had no idea that this was going to be possible. I mean, is there any story from the jump there in that year when you said of, here you are, you're coaching in one of the biggest moments, and with any coach specifically that maybe you hold on to, or maybe then helped you kind of, put you in a position now looking years back and you wrote this book. Do you remember from those early seasons any moments or any moments or stories from some of those early coachings?
Yeah, I mean, the big story would be that I had, I don't believe there's any such thing as a coincidence. And as I look back at my life, I see how all the moments are tied together to the next moment. If Bud Grant doesn't come out of retirement in 1985, I'm not coaching in the NFL. So Les Steckel went 1-15. Bud did a contract to come back and get the team on its feet. And I had been in training camp with the Vikings twice before I went to law school, and got cut both times. I played against Bud's son when we were in high school together, and he hired me on his staff when he rebuilt his staff. So it's almost mind-boggling to me that the fork in the road happened the way it did. But as I said, Howard saw something in me. Jimmy really supported me because he knew I really didn't want to coach college football. I didn't like the recruiting side, and really helped me be patient enough. And then out of nowhere, Bud comes out of retirement and I get a call. Do you want to come onto my staff? I said, what position? He said, we'll worry about that when you get here. And, it was my home. I grew up in Minneapolis. My dad took me to Viking games. So I grew up with Bud Grant and Jerry Burns, and now I'm working for coordinator Jerry Burns. And, I'm a Viking, and I've been one my whole life.
And then you're thrusted into the college space where, you're not sure how you feel about all of it. And then by the way, you're quarterback's coach with Bernie and these big moments, and you're not sure what position you're going to be. And then all these years later, being talked about as such a great offensive mind, right? And that's the part where I appreciate you sharing. I think some parts of where we get to, people think it sometimes falls into place, and usually it does, but it's not the way that you think it will.
Yeah.
So so when it moves on for you and you're moving into these next stages, and talk to me a little bit more now with teaching the game. And if you've had so many moments, but specifically, why did you want to illustrate this? And I know you've talked with Harbs about this, but why was this so important for you to try to give this back?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, and the answer really is kind of the master of the obvious, Ryan. The game has been really good to me. And sometimes when you get on these shows, people talk about, all the good things you did, because they don't want to talk about the things that perceptively didn't go well, where the scoreboard didn't take care of itself, or, you didn't win the amount of games, you lose your job, and those things. That's all. There's not this book is a textbook on football. And I just, when I left the Chargers, I was with the Chargers and Jim Harbaugh in 2024. We had these team meetings called Teach the Game meetings. And I had been in training camp with the University of Michigan the year before, just to visit with Jim and be in the quarterback meetings. And when he hired me with the Chargers, he asked me to put the Teach the Game meetings, which were evening meetings, and topics were everything. Most of the things that are in that book, I've added a bunch of things, but it was really as soon as I retired in March 12th, to make a long story short, I said I need to give something back to a game has been so incredible to me and my family, and allowed me to have relationships that I could not have anywhere, and give and serve the players and coaches that I had coached as a head coach and with an assistant coach. I just decided to sit down and start writing. And I told Jim, I think we have a book here. And I just started writing the book, and it took 18 months. And it's just, as I say early on in the book, it's not my book, it's our book. And it really is. I was really the typist, Ryan, and the conduit to put it together. And you can't talk about everything, because football is 11 on 11, and the variables are exponential to the 11th power. So there's a lot of different ways to coach the game, any game. But it all really started with, every coach, I believe, really needs to see the game through the eyes of the quarterback. That was number one. And until you stood behind the quarterback and seen how hard it is, whether you're a defensive line coach, special teams coach, if you want to lead a team, you really need to see it through his eyes. I've had coaches that I've worked for who didn't, and it makes it very difficult on games, in practice, if that's not the case. So the first 250 pages are basically seeing the game through the eyes of the quarterback and his job. And then it moves on to, a number, 40 seconds between each play, the week in the life of the quarterback. A lot on one of my favorite chapters is practicing the game, because that's where that's the office of the player, right? It's on the field. And so I go through a litany of practice, the elements of practice, which starts with just the safety of the football team, the safety of the quarterback. Because if the quarterback can't complete a throwing motion, you're not gonna win any games. When I've had good quarterbacks, I've been a pretty good coach. So and then it just goes on to a lot of elements. It's 630 pages. There's a lot there, and I left a lot out because I could have kept writing.
Well, when you have all the experience that you do have, yeah, you could write, like Harry Potter has 7 books, whatever it is. Maybe that's what we need. We need 7
this
or
is
8
the last
books
one.
Here. Right?
There's no more books, and there's no more books.
well, how about this then? And I'm sure that there's even more into this in the book. But you just mentioned about seeing the eyes through the quarterback, and we know how important that is in the position. Maybe I'm just curious on with this process, what were quarterbacks? You said you had some great ones that helped you out immensely, but is there any that come to mind when you look back on the stories of that you learned a ton in this process?
And the book starts out really with 2 stories. It starts in the quarterback room, but then it's a story about Steve Young. When I was in the quarterback meetings as a coordinator in San Francisco, and we went around the room and I asked the question, what's the job of the quarterback? And guys had, they got to move the football team. They got to score points. They got to win. And Steve said, stop, wait a minute. He says, my job is to protect the football. And that to me was just like an aha moment. So as a quarterback coach, if a quarterback protects the football and doesn't turn it over, the teams are going to win over 60% of the games. They do that, they're going to be in the playoffs and have a chance to win a championship. So to protect the football, you do it on the center quarterback exchange, confines of the pocket, on the way to the back, location of throw, exiting the pocket. So the first 150 pages are how that quarterback protects the ball. And then the last piece of this, I was at a player's wedding, and I was talking to Dan Marino. I asked him the same question, and I asked him, what is the job of the court? He says, I have one job, and that's to live for the next down. And when you think about protecting the football and not getting hurt and be able to play a game and play a season, if you can get a quarterback to do that, you're going to win. So ultimately, that's the start of the book. And those 2 stories were really the genesis of how I started this book, and the fact that I've stood behind a quarterback my whole life. And even to this day, it leaves me breathless to see what they can do in the chaos of a game, the pass rush, the neurological makeup, their self-awareness, their just the whole aspect of it is accuracy, difference between accuracy and location. I mean, I could go on and on, but those are 2 of the stories that really started. And then it leans into practice, because again, The job of every coach is to keep the players safe so they can get to the games. And there's a big emphasis on a practice code of ethics. And there's a 40-page chapter on just the science of the throwing motion, which is the only chapter that actually has pictures in it. And then the last chapter is, I teach a leadership course at the University of Miami Law School, and I've done it for 5 years. Next year will be my 6th. And it's our whole leadership course, because I think that young coaches and players, and even anybody in business, can utilize those fundamentals of leadership to grow and become not just a formal authority, but a moral authority as well. Because what we want of the next generation is not just people with titles with formal authority. We want them to have moral authority as well. So that's a big part of the book as well at the end.
Well, it sounds, for everyone, if you want to get everything when it comes to understanding the quarterback situation, you want specific stories, insights, demonstrations from what you're discussing, and even evolution of this whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think people will open the table of contents and they'll decide what areas they want to look at. And I'm really proud of it, but I'm also can tell you that a lot of people encouraged me. Tony Dungy and Steve Young, who did forwards, encouraged me. Ernie Accorsi, and Ernie's probably from Baltimore. Early on, the Giants, the Browns, they pushed me to finish it because you're going to be graded, from the coaches that are in the business. They're going to read it, and when they do, I want them to have a moment where they say, man, that's something I hadn't thought of, because a lot of the stuff they're going to know.
For sure. I mean, I would say overall, what I'm even curious about, one, how it's going to help so many people, but two, and how the sport's going to continue to evolve. And I'm curious then, Mark, on this side, you're talking about Steve Young, the evolution of the quarterback position. Steve was mobile. He could throw and he was mobile. And then nowadays, what do we hear now of, can you be a dual threat? And in the NFL, I mean, the one in Baltimore, you have Lamar, and he's now transformed the position. You also have Josh Allen, who also does this thing, and the Patrick Mahomes of the world. I'm just curious on your side of this, is this evolution, because we can probably go back to saying it was Steve and Randall Cunningham and quarterbacks of that magnitude. But what do you think of this generation of quarterbacks? Because the offenses are different, even how the game is constructed and how it's officiated is different than what it was. But how do you look at some of the talent of these quarterbacks, of the great ones today, as a part of that process in the NFL?
I think there's more great ones today, or more that played a very high level. I think of the 32 teams, you could almost say most teams now have a quarterback. Not all, but most teams. More than 70 or 80% of the teams probably have quarterbacks, number one, that can win on Sunday. The dual threat thing scares me because of the value of the quarterback and the speed and the viciousness of what goes on defensively. And I think we see that. I think we look around. I don't know statistically, but I do know this: if the starting quarterback plays through the season, it's in my book. It's like 57 or 58% of they win. If the starting quarterback isn't playing, I don't even think it's 40%. It's like 35%. So I worry that true dual threats, if they're very much a part of the offense and running the football, I don't see that much of it. But as a coordinator and a play caller, I think you have to have a quarterback who can extend a play and get you first down during the course of the game and then get down. Josh Allen can do that. There's others that have tried to do more. I mean, Jackson Dart's got to start thinking about that. And there's a couple other names. Daniels has got to start thinking about that. And there's quarterbacks, they're just going to get hurt if coaches are calling plays. Now it's different. You're in the playoffs, you're down in the red zone. You want the defense to force, they're going to defend 11. You might run a quarterback trap or a draw. I mean, we lost Steve Young in a playoff game in '96 where we had a really good team, and we lost the next week because he broke a rib and couldn't play against the Packers. So I'm hesitant to call quarterback runs as a play caller. I'd be more inclined to say, man, I'd love to have it in my back pocket that I know he can get me a couple of first downs on third down, because it's almost impossible to be 45, 47% efficient or more if your quarterback can help you by finding a first down with his legs or his arm outside the pocket.
Yeah, I mean, and that's been the concerns with all the athletes. The best ability is availability.
That's right.
And we've known this and even seen it with the Ravens the last X amount of years. Lamar plays, you feel good. If he's
Real
not
good.
out there, you're
Yeah.
a little bit nervous about
Yeah.
what the outcome is. And I mean, even the numbers I think suggest. I know last year was a little bit skewed, but he's not. I don't think the Ravens. I don't think they haven't technically been doing those designed runs as much. Lamar will extend, but I think he's realized for his longevity and for the teams, he's got to be out there
Yeah.
to go out and win.
I think you're going to find even colleges with the money they're paying quarterbacks right now that you're going to see less of that, because the value of the quarterback is just so great that, you know, having him run a couple times in a game isn't worth the cost benefit analysis. To me, just isn't worth, losing your starting quarterback.
Oh, no doubt about it. Well, actually, I think Rocco behind the scenes wanted to ask you about another quarterback in Baltimore. I think you spent a little time with here, and he's still upright. He's still playing football. But Rock, go ahead.
That's why I'm
Coach.
wearing the hat, Rocco. I'm wearing the hat.
That's what I'm
today.
talking about, Coach. I'm a hat guy too, so I'm glad I can kind of set the tone today. But you obviously spent some time with Joe Flacco here in Baltimore over the course of your career and his career. I would love to get your early impressions of a younger Joe Flacco, and does it surprise you to see him still playing at this point in time in his career, and the longevity that he's been able to have over the course of his time in the NFL?
Yeah, I mean, more and more you're seeing quarterbacks play longer. We've seen that with Brady and others. I had a couple in Canada that played into their 40s, and it's not unusual anymore. Joe is a really special guy, and he was, when in fact, he got hurt. Probably one of the reasons I lost my job in Baltimore is he got hurt. But very easy to work with, arm talent, incredible arm talent. I mean, you stand behind him, and I'm sure maybe you had over the years, but stand behind him throwing the football, just effortless, never throws anything but a spiral. Very, very smart. He's got all and accurate, he'll do whatever you ask him to do. Wasn't real verbal. I mean, all he really wanted to know was tell me what to do and I'll do it. And he was very easy to coach. And, I looked up to him. I mean, it just as not only as an elite player, but an elite person.
Well,
Awesome.
now I'm curious.
Definitely one of the prettiest spirals in football history for sure. I think we can all agree on that.
No doubt.
Well, Mark, we're having Joe on tomorrow. I mean, any words or a phrase that we throw at him might give a second glance to be, or if anything we can tell him that could keep him off guard here, or is he always Joe Cool?
No, I think that he's not only Joe Cool. I think he's, I've seen him on a few interviews, and he's just awesome. I'm sure he could take it to, he could take it to Sunday as an analyst, a color guy very easily if he wanted to do it. But, he's so articulate, so smart, doesn't need a lot of words to make a point. He's got a great filter, I'm not surprised, Rocco, that he's still standing and still playing the game. And I'm sure helping, quarterbacks along the way, if not through his words, certainly through his actions.
Yeah, seeing that Netflix documentary with him mic'd up, talking to Shedeur Sanders, you got the, not calling Joe old by any means. We still want him to come on the show tomorrow, but like you have the different generations, and it's cool to see those two generations come together, talk, have those conversations, even if it's about whether a QB should wear a visor or not. I think it's unbelievable that he's still at it and still playing it. I mean, playing at a pretty high level at this point in time as well. So
yeah, I think all of us grow, and we're transformable. We're going to grow and become more enlightened along the way. And I just think that, Joe's one of those guys that keeps learning through either his success or his adversity, and now is utilizing it in other ways to serve others. And that's really what, getting older, being more experienced is you can use your knowledge and your experience to serve others. And that's a very fulfilling thing. As a coach, to me, that's the most fulfilling thing, is just serving the player as to be a better version of himself off the field and be the best player he can be on the field. That takes competency as a coach to gain their trust, and vulnerability is the way you can lead them to become better versions of themselves off the field.
With that light, Coach, of talking about with quarterbacks and the longevity, the evolution, I think Zach wanted to ask you about how even the concepts have changed for quarterbacks. And I'm really curious. Zach, you got the question? Where are you? There you are. You're muted.
Yeah, Coach. Thanks for joining us. Over time, you've been around the game for a long time, and I've seen a lot of discussion recently from former coaches and former players, even the Tom Brady's, talk about, because of the new, as you mentioned, NIL era, guys kind of in college, it's becoming free agency. They're spending 1 year at a place instead of 4 at a program, that playbooks have been simplified. And maybe there isn't as much development from the quarterback standpoint before they get to the National Football League, get into an offense. From your standpoint, from what you see in the game and how it's evolved, how do you think offenses have changed in the NFL to maybe simplify things for quarterbacks, especially early on in a career?
Yeah, Zach, that's a great question. And we got the same look with the hat and the glasses.
I didn't get the memo here. All right, what's up with that?
That's on you.
Great question. I'm not that familiar with college football. I don't watch a lot of it. Mm-hmm. I know that, now that I've done this book, I'm seeing all the different quarterback development coaches that are all over the country. I also know that, I'm very close to Jordan Palmer, and he takes on some of the best quarterbacks in the league in their development. But here's where the line is drawn, is to me, and I heard Kirk Cousin talk about this, about the difference between progression teaching and going to the soft spot of the defense and knowing where that is. So I'll start with progression, because this is where a lot of the league is, that when you give the reason why you're going with progression football with a quarterback, it's easier because you really don't have to read a coverage. You just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But the problem with that is it's easier. But what if number 5 is the guy who's really going to be open? But you got to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So the object of the game is to get the ball out of the quarterback's hand as quickly as possible and to allow him to complete a throwing motion. In progression football, if the defense is taken away the place you start, you're holding the ball too long. So as people look at the game over the next year, I think that should be taken into where are the sacks coming from based on how long the quarterback holds the ball. I never taught that way in the longer developing game. I always felt like I could tell the quarterback by seeing one person that I knew where the sweet spot of the defense was. And that's where we start. So the pride I took was creating concepts, and it wasn't perfect, and I wasn't perfect, and it didn't always work. So this is not the all-encompassing way to do it by any means, but it worked for me, that I wanted the quarterback and the offensive line to know that, guys, I'm not going to force you to hold up for 3.5 seconds. We're getting the ball out of our hands because we're going to keep the quarterback safe, and that's the way we start. So the other way to do it besides progression is to decode what the defense is doing so the quarterback can get it out of his hand as quickly as possible. And Kirk did a good job of talking about both of those. I've kind of consolidated a little bit more. So that's where, back to your question, Zach, I think the league, just what I'm hearing is, I hear this word pure progression. And that sounds easy, but the footwork can be a little bit nebulous, and holding the ball can be critical to the safety of the quarterback. So I think because of the quarterbacks moving around and not much time, I think progression coaching, as you were talking about, is more in vogue.
Out of curiosity, then, can you give an example of a moment where you just mentioned about somebody? I had to take this. I look too ridiculous with this one. This is a good look. This isn't a good look for me, Mark. I can pull it off, but it's not the exact vibe here that we're rocking with.
It works.
Oh, well, it's the summertime.
You're amongst friends. You're amongst friends, Ryan. You're amongst friends. It's okay.
Yeah. So with the progression part that you talk about, do you have moments throughout your coaching career where a quarterback made a play where you were just like, damn? You mentioned about the progression reads and what you're saying, the fifth option might be the best option, and he already identified. Is there someone that either you coached or you coached against that you sat there in the moment and went, that man, that's as good as it gets?
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot. I mean, there's no one. I mean, I really can't remember specifically, but I can tell you there's probably not a game that you call where you ask yourself, how the hell did he get the ball there? And how did he see that? I mean, that's just a weekly observation that you're always going to see in great quarterbacks. Like, how do they find the guy? You're on the sideline, you're watching the play, and you're looking at the wide receiver on the wide side of the field because you think that's where he's going with the ball. You see the defense, and all of a sudden he's over on the other side, and the ball's completed for an explosive play. So I think that's just normal that these quarterbacks, they're not human. They're really not. If anybody on earth is from another planet, it's the guys who are great quarterbacks in the National Football League. They're just incredible. The ability they have is just, it's very few. There's 8 billion people on earth, and there's only 79 quarterbacks that have started in the last, I don't know how many years. So
right. Well, and I mean, you can look through all of it. I mean, for different reasons, you can say the people with the arm talent. You mentioned of a Joe Flacco, but Matthew Stafford continues to do his thing.
Unbelievable. Yep.
Tom Brady stayed around as long, not because Tom's in good shape, no doubt about that, but Tom was so cerebral with what he wanted to do and already knew how to do it. Peyton Manning, the sheriff, like he was talking about breaking down the game.
Right.
It's incredible, right? So there's so many different moments of that. I'd ask a couple things, and we'll wrap up here for you. And all this knowledge, again, this is amazing. And for anyone out there that wants to learn more, right, it's teachingthegame.com. I have that correct? So teachingthegame.com, where you can obviously purchase as well. I got to know, what's your go-to play call? Like, if we're going to run a concept here, what's like, you go back into the archives and you maybe will tab it, or what was the old thing with a notepad? You would bookmark it as something that you loved running during your time calling plays.
Yeah. I mean, the really outside of the quick game, every offense I've coached started with a 3-by-1 set and 3 verticals to the 3 receiver side with an individual on the backside, because you can put every play in your offense starting there. And if you have the threat of that play, that opens up everything underneath as well. So whether you're 3-by-1 spread out or 3-by-1 in a bunch, you can create a million plays starting with the quick game from that. And so everybody has their own way of developing a system of football. But I love that play because I always felt it had an answer against everything. You could put up any coverage, and I could tell you that you're going to find an answer. Didn't always complete them, but you could find an answer.
I'm new to this. I've been around sports, but what's one call you would give in on a call like that? And it doesn't even have to make sense to me, but what's like a random call that you would have to send in just so I understand the context of a play call?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's different. I mean, everybody has like in the West Coast offense, the pass patterns are concepts, right? So this concept has been, when I was in San Francisco, was all go special, was Steve Young. When I was in Chicago with McCown, it was Gopher. We started with Gopher, and, different kinds of gophers and muskrats and, raccoons became plays, because they were in the same family of animal. You know what I'm saying? So
Sure.
So
I kind of do.
And all the teams do that. Like they have words that are identifiable, that players can identify, and that's systems all over the country, college, high school, NFL.
Did you come up with Gopher? Was that you?
I honestly, I don't remember how we came up with it. We just, and they changed over the years. We changed names over the years. And then the protection would be the call before that. Like it might be 72, it might be 3 jet, but the numbers were protection and the names were the concepts.
Okay, I'm learning here, and if I want to learn more, I'm going to open up the book. And I know you're saying you're not going to write another book. I might have to try to force you because I love learning as much as I can in the sports world, and I get fascinated on that. If you ever want to know more of the baseball terminology, Mark, you let me know. I'll go down that rabbit hole with you.
One of my favorite books of all time was Men at Work by George Will. My first book. Yeah. My first baseball read. I love that book. But I think the book there's something for everybody in there. And it's not a diagram book. It's written like a novel. And as I said, the only pictures in there are the science of throwing the football. That's it. And they got some really good explanations and illustrations of how to do that with the quarterbacks of the day and past.
Well, Coach, I can go down all the rabbit hole, and I know you have the unique story about with everything with the CFL. Before I let you get out of here, any CFL story that people don't know about it that they should know?
Well, I think that I was really very lucky. I coached 7 years in the league, and I coached 2 of the best quarterbacks to ever play in the league, Anthony Calvillo and Ricky Ray. And if they would have had the right opportunity in the NFL, they'd be in the Hall of Fame there today. The beauty of the CFL, number one, is I got to be home 6 months and raise my kids. And I was only in Montreal and Toronto for the summer, which was really, really good. And my family stayed in Raleigh and came back and forth. But the CFL is a great league. The football is incredibly good. And the game is different because it's 3 down, the field's wider. There's a lot of nuance to the rule. It's a thinking man's game. And the players who play it are I always say they're credit card thin, but from being NFL players, the skill positions particularly, they came up short. And so I love playing in the league, coaching in the league, every minute of it. And I recommend if anybody gets a chance to catch a game, they should check it out.
Well, it's something I've always followed. It's a place that, and you're very humble. It's a place that you've had success, well, and I think a lot of people want to continue to learn more about how it all continues to unfold. And I think that's a testament of you talking about the talent that's in the league. We hope that some people, I know the phrase, you hope that if you're talented and you're good enough, people will see you. You hope nowadays more than ever. The reality is some of that may be true and some of that might never happen. Opportunities that come about to some, and even we can bring up Brady again. No one really knows what Tom Brady would have been had it not been for an injury to Drew that would have led to the opportunity, and so on and so forth, right? So
you're right. I mean, the book I talk about it, Kurt Warner was working in a grocery store. Rich Gannon was 35 or 36 before he won the MVP. Steve Young didn't start till he was 29 years old. Who would our guy in San Francisco right now playing quarterback, if somebody doesn't get hurt, if Trent Green doesn't get hurt. So I always tell quarterbacks, you're on your own journey. Don't look around. I call it fisheyeing when should be looking this way, but the fish eyes go out, they're looking around and trying to compare. And that goes with anybody. Don't compare your journeys to anybody else's journey. Just be where your feet are, do the best you can. People notice, and the rest will take care of itself.
That seems like some great life advice, not quarterback or football advice there, Mark. That's what it sounds like to me.
Sorry. I went unfiltered there. Sorry.
No, what are you talking about? That's what we love. Because the other part, what I love about sports is that could be a football message, but it's not just about football with how you handle things, right? And I think that's the really cool part that I love, and I know that's what you continue to instill throughout.
It's in the book. Some of that stuff's in the book. I think the reader will enjoy that as well.
So again, for anyone that wants to know, teachingthegame.com is the website. Any other information that they should know so they can get a hold of you?
That you can order on the website, and the book was published by Bill, the guy Jim Peterson, who did Bill Walsh's last book, Finding the Winning Edge. If they order on the website through that company, which is Coach's Choice, there's 20% off. And it's also, I think, starts today, available on Amazon. But you can order through on the website through either Coach's Choice or Amazon. And I think that people are going to buy it. I think there's going to be coaches who are going to allow players, help players become better players and better people. And that's the legacy I want for the book, is that, it's about getting in the hands of the people who can change the lives of others.
Amen to that, Mark. That's the ultimate goal. Make an impact, be able to give back, like you said, and it's such a value to have. You a coffee guy, Mark?
I'm a coffee guy.
Okay. Well, this is a good way to end this. This is a good debate. How do you take your coffee?
Straight black.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's all we need to know. Rocco, you can take notes. Rocco he made a comment earlier before you came on and said, I drink my coffee black all the time. I just was at the All-Star game with this man, and I got him a honey bear latte every single day. That doesn't sound like a black coffee, right? No.
No, those fancy names. But I do want to add, if I could.
Yes.
The Ravens got themselves a heck of a head coach.
Ooh.
I had a chance to work with your new head coach, and he's really special.
What do you love about him?
Jesse is an even-keeled, common sense, very astute communicator, very good communicator for his youth. I think they got themselves a real prize in Jesse. He just is really good at communication, succinct. He's great in front of the team. The team's going to respect what he has to say. He's clear. He's concise. He's no nonsense. He's a great person.
And and just so people know the relationship with you all, how did that come about, or the timeline?
Well, I was with the Chargers when Jim came down and Jesse was hired as the coordinator, and I went there because Marcus Brady, who's now your passing game coordinator, played for me in Montreal, and then I hired him as a coach, and he was a coordinator for me in Montreal and in Toronto. Then went on to the Colts, and then when Jim got the job, he hired not only Marcus Brady to be the passing game coordinator, but another coach that coached with me in Montreal and Chicago, Andy Bischoff, became the run game coordinator. So Jim Harbaugh was my quarterback coach when I was with the Raiders, and Jesse's office was right next to mine. And I didn't spend a lot of time, but he was working, but I observed him on the field and in meetings, and I just think he's outstanding. Got a great future there.
That's what we've heard, and we might get a chance to sit down a little bit more and try to continue to explain to our audience the next wave of what we hope will be the next wave of great coaches that have come through Baltimore here. And next time, Mark, I guess I got to ask you more about the Harbaughs. It sounds like you've spent quite a bit of time with them, and they've also, I feel like the circles and how many people you've seen and watched, you guys see the game in so many different ways that I think is really cool. And maybe that goes with everything with the book. You see the eyes through the quarterback, but quite frankly, you're seeing this eyes from this huge vantage point that you think can help so many people.
Yeah, when you read the introduction, you'll see how the Harbaughs came into it and how Jim did. And I think about Baltimore. I got a chance to coach Ozzie when I was in Cleveland, and stayed in touch with Ozzie over the years, and just one of the greatest players and human beings I've ever been around. And
Can I ask I know I was saying the last thing. I got to know this now. What was it like having Ozzie as a player?
Well, I had him the last couple of years, and I was a young guy. I was maybe 29 or 30, and I was a coordinator in Cleveland, and I was just in awe. Again, what you find and what people don't realize, you're just not. You spend a lifetime not just in front of great athletes, but incredible human beings.
Yeah.
And they become more incredible and more enlightened over the years because of the information around them that's helped them grow. So you see this growth, but Ozzie was way ahead of his time as a person, a human being, and he's Hall of Fame and player, general manager, human being. It was a privilege. That's all I can say. It was just a privilege to be around him.
Yeah, you got to see it was a kind of full circle then when you come to Baltimore and Ozzie's here on that side, and you got to see the greatness and who he was at the end in your younger days. And so that's
every general manager should have been able to sit in a draft meeting with Ozzie Newsome, and Eric did a wonderful job as well. They were a great team there. One of the best I've been around.
Well, so this is what we'll do, Mark, as we're going on and we can do a second round of teaching the game. Got to have you come on during the season. You can teach me some more phrases and play calls.
Okay.
And we can break down what's happening through the eyes of a quarterback. Deal?
It would be an absolute privilege to come on again. And thanks for letting me ramble on here today a little bit. Appreciate it.
We love it. You are welcome anytime. Anyone that also believes that having nothing in the coffee and black coffee, that's the normal order, is always welcome back in our book. That's the standard.
Yeah, I got it. I'm all in.
Perfect.
Say hello to Joe tomorrow.
I will. We will pass the word along to Joe and be good. Enjoy your time, and look forward to talking to you soon.
Okay. Thank the guys as well. Okay. Take care.
I will. Marc Trestman, everybody. Hey, Rocco. So I feel like everybody in here, Nate, black coffee, myself, we have different definitions of how we take coffee, right?
Sure. Yeah, I guess. I thought Coach was going to be on my side. It kind of hurt me that he's not, but we're wearing hats together, and that's what it's all about.
You guys bonded over the hats, okay? You guys bonded over the hats, and man, he was great to have on today.
Awesome.
And if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. What I love with it, and this is about the next generation, and also people that have been around the game, I think we've talked about this so long, is I love that he's doing it from one vantage point, but when you've been around and you have experienced things yourself, there's a whole different dynamic that you can bring that can help. And I thought that's really cool. And then casually, then you'll have stories that you throw out and go, oh, yeah, I spent time with Ozzie in many different ways.
Awesome.
Jesse Minter is another example, which we hope here for all of our Baltimore fans, we might have some more information coming your way when it comes to the Ravens' new head coach and a lot more. And obviously we'll have Marc Trestman back on to talk more about football. So that was an absolute joy and pleasure. Appreciate you guys. Bali, great question on the simple quarterback terms. And Rocco, not a bad job with the Joe Flacco question either.
My questions could be better. I'm working on it.
It's your first.
Not
you're
there
new to
yet.
this. Yeah, not there yet.
All those years of media training really haven't paid off for me yet. Maybe I can get a media. Maybe Coach Trestman could be my media coach as well. Teach you some play calling about the quarterback position. But maybe we can have like a session where we just break everything down and go into detail about how my questions suck sometimes. So
I can't wait to try to. I'm gonna act now to the next person I talk to about like, oh yeah, go for something. And they're like, yeah, elaborate. And then that's all I'm going to be. And I'm going to have to hit up Mark and be like, hey, what's the next words here so I can sound smarter than I am? And yes, Rocco, we can work on media training for you as well.
Okay. That sounds good. That's
perfect.
Yep.
Perfect. Well, again, new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Just had Marc Trestman on. teachingthegame.com is the website for more information, and you can get the book out now. We will have another football guest joining us because the Ravens did sign Ethan Pocic this past week. Hall of Famer Joe Thomas will join us. Zach, I know our audience will get upset if we do not talk about, I guess the Orioles lineup came out.
Yep.
I know for the next 10 minutes, we probably should talk about it because guess what? If you think your two catchers are in the lineup, that's not the case, right, Zach?
No, it is not the case. And we did get some clarification on why one of them is not in the lineup, as Adley Rutschman has been placed on the 10-day IL, retroactive to July 19th for wrist inflammation. Very left-handed or right-handed heavy lineup tonight. Just to quickly, I guess, go down it real fast. We have leading off Taylor Ward, Pete Alonso batting second, Gunnar Henderson third, Tyler O'Neill, Kobe Mayo at DH, Leody Taveras, Jeremiah Jackson, Encarnacion Strand, and Sam Huff. So Gunnar Henderson, the only lefty in the lineup. Leody Taveras is a switch hitter, but one lefty in the lineup against a very tough, especially recently, Red Sox starting pitching staff. Peyton Toll's been fantastic. So, obviously, don't think anyone's surprised about the number of righties. They've been doing this recently where they try to really stack it right-handed against lefties. But the unfortunate news is, of course, Adley Rutschman goes to the IL for the third time this year.
Which is so unfortunate because you want one of your best players in the lineup. Considering you're about to go up against a team on an 11-game winning streak, like it's and an AL East rival as well. But it's unfortunate. Obviously, you don't have Adley. Other guys are going to have to step up. And I see some comments in here. Lineup making me physically sick. People are like, "What's this lineup?" Honestly, like, who knows what happens tonight? There have been lineups in the past where you shake your head at with the Orioles. Maybe not this season, where you're like, "What are we putting out there right now?" And then they go out and win the game. So I don't know, man. See what happens tonight. Hopefully they can get a win. Is it an ideal lineup for the O's? Absolutely not. Completely understand that. But who the hell knows what can happen? They're hot. They're playing well. Obviously the Red Sox are too. But if they can steal one this first game with the lineup they have out there, then, I mean, there's no reason why they can't win 2 out of 3.
Well, so, and here's the part with this whole situation, right? So the Red Sox are humming, right? They put up 13 straight W's, and keep in mind.
Sorry, I said 11. Bobby,
it's all right. You're learning. You're learning, Rock.
I can't count. Counting's never been my strong suit.
It hasn't, but 13 straight W's, and this is again a Red Sox team that fired their coaching staff earlier in the year. They were all over the place. Everyone was talking about they're selling, and then you have this great 2-week run, and they have been fantastic. They're the best team in baseball. They're best team in baseball over this stretch. They're over 500, and they have that final wild card spot. You know, from the side of this, Basayo aggravated his shoulder yesterday. That makes sense. He's not in the lineup. You just hope that that's not going to be a prolonged thing. The Adley part is definitely concerning, because of the fact that this is another injury in this circumstance. And you kind of felt it when Sam Huff was activated. You're not bringing on a third catcher if you have long-term or if you had short-term worries, but clearly this was something they were concerned that was going to be lingering. And this has been the thing with Adley that I've hated for him. He produces when he plays. Problem is, he hasn't been able to play the way that he has wanted to, and meaning to play a full 162. And guys, ever since back in 2024, where he played 148 games, granted he was battling injury in the second half, 90 games last year. He's at 67 games played this year, 247 at bats. And now you are slated to miss more time. And the numbers on a per game basis for Adley, if you averaged it out over a 162, it's fantastic. The problem is, here we are again. And for the Orioles, the bigger part with this lineup, they need other guys to step up. And in this case, and I've mentioned this before, and injuries happen. But if you're looking at this Orioles lineup offensively, guys, Pete Alonso is doing his thing. He's got 66 RBIs. Adley Rutschman is still second on the team with 47 RBIs. You guys want to guess who is third in RBIs?
Oh gosh, Jeremiah Jackson's been passed. Is it Basayo?
That is correct. Sam
Yeah.
Basayo. So your second and third leading RBI guys on your team are out. And then you have Gunnar Henderson that's still trying to find his rhythm. He had a good finale there in Houston. But, guys, this is the part of the year where when you win, you can start to have this fuck it mentality. Like, all right, we have issues. Well, great, we're winning despite them. But in the past, they were losing because it was always that lingering thought. This Orioles starting staff, you mentioned the Red Sox have a great starting staff, Zach. This Orioles starting pitching staff is dominant. They have been lights out. They have been the strength of this team. I mean, yes, don't kid yourself now. The strength of the Baltimore Orioles is their starting pitching staff. And who would have specifically thought that when the month of April ended? But it has been. And tonight, it's a great opportunity for that to continue on. And you got to have that same mentality of who cares, screw it, we're going to go out and win games. And that's where it's at. You can't overthink it. You do that, you're going to be in trouble. But the Orioles here, make no mistake, guys, like this, it's fun that this series is so important now. But I'm hoping it's the fuck it mentalities here for the team and not the, well, damn, the oh, woe is me. No, like no one cares that you're injured. It's a problem, but no one else cares.
Well, they could have a fuck it mentality, Rip, but it would also be nice if a guy like Gunnar Henderson, who's had a very down month of July, hitting 170, can step up and have the series of a lifetime coming into this series against the Red Sox. That's what Orioles fans would love that. They've been down on Gunnar a bit this season, but if someone like that, if a guy that's supposed to be one of the stars of this team can step up and have a great series and kind of get hot right here heading into the rest of, when the first half ends, because it's not officially over yet, heading into that second half of baseball post All-Star break, then I feel like that is going to be huge coming around at the trade deadline, just for this team as a whole, what they can do, who they can go out and look at. Hopefully they can kind of become buyers and not sellers. You're not trying to sell guys off because you're in contention. So a guy like Gunnar, if he can step up and have a damn good series, I mean, that would be ideal. I feel like that would be all of Birdland's wish.
And in the process here, I know I've seen, Sam, you're taking the news very well in the chat. The Astros were ahead of the Orioles going into this series. They were the better team going into the last series record-wise. And the Orioles take care of business. And I'd say, guys, that game 2 against Houston where Tyler O'Neill, where, Zach, I think you had a tweet, used every inch or every lasting moment of his bicep. What was it?
Yeah, every last bicep curl he has ever performed to save that game.
And those are plays that the Orioles didn't make that kept the game alive. That's what they didn't make in the past. And how about Tyler O'Neill also busting his ass on a ball that Altuve took a little bit too much time getting to? Not an easy play, but took a little bit too much time. And the Orioles are making the difference in those moments and not the other way around. So you hope that stays. You hope guys step up. And for the starting rotations, since it was asked, Boz, Dean Kramer closes out the series in game 3, and the middle guy, how about the $90 million man, Kyle Bradish, the dude got paid. He is feeling good. Happy for Bradish. He's a good kid. And well-deserved. But that's a guy, quite frankly now, I'm glad he's going in this series because I think he's ready to continue to make his presence felt of why you paid him is going to be such a great investment moving forward. So
absolutely.
We'll have more guests and people on about this moving forward. I'm excited about, what do you got?
Rip, just an interesting note before we dive into more football talk just about this series. OptaStats put this out. Today's game between the Red Sox and Orioles will be the second time in MLB history in which two teams of win streaks of 7+ games meet in the combined win streak is 20-plus games. Do you want to take a guess, either of you guys, when the other one was? Any year, any era?
2022.
September 13th, 1884, between the St. Louis
What?
Maroons 12-game winning streak and the
Forgot
Washington
me.
Nationals. So that's kind of like holy shit, but doesn't happen too often, clearly.
No.
Where were you when this last happened? Well, back in my day, it's been 142
Whatever that 140 years.
years, right?
Yeah.
Is it 1884?
1884. Yes.
So,
That's, very long time ago, Rip.
I will say one last thing before we move on when we talk about the effort mentality and all that. The Orioles as a whole, I think the best when we talk about what changed, what has been different over the past, even I'll just use the Houston series as kind of the benchmark of examples of it. They got to do what Gunnar Henderson did in those final two games, because Rock, I'll put it a lot less nice than you have. Gunnar Henderson has been a liability to this team and has held them back in more facets than he has ever helped them this season.
Yep.
He has, at the plate and in the field, hurt them numerous times and cost them games. What he did starting on, what was it, the middle game, on that play that Ryan talks about, a soft grounder to the second baseman with 2 outs. Gunnar understands the situation. Talk about playing with your hair on fire. Not only he's on second base to start, the ball never leaves the infield and he scores the go-ahead run. Later on the next day, Pete Alonso takes second base. Gunnar, with his hair on fire, heads up play. They need another run. You do not want to keep Houston within this 2-run lead. Gets there. There are going to be moments over this series against Boston through the rest of the year where guys will not be producing at the plate. They will not be producing in the field. But it's about how can you impact the game and how can you win games and help win games when you're not playing well. Gunnar had an awful series in Houston up until that RBI single to the opposite field. Horrible series, hadn't gotten a hit. But he impacted the game and helped them win games in more ways. This team has to have that mentality of, hey, if I'm not doing well at the plate, Tyler O'Neill, everyone in the world is talking about how bad Tyler O'Neill has been at the plate this year. How can you help the team win? How about let's gun the guy out from center field for a double play to keep the game in just going, period. Then, a horrible swing. You get it off the end of the bat. You got a dribbler out to second. How about I haul ass? Beat it out, and now Gunnar's playing with his hair on fire, and now you got the go-ahead run. And then how does that lead the snowball chance? Now Leote comes up, gets the RBI single. Now you have a 2-run lead, and now you're feeling a lot better in extras. There are going to be guys that are not producing. There are going to be guys who heat up, guys who have down slumps. It's about how can you impact the game in every facet. And I think Gunnar showed it in the Houston series. He was not having a good series offensively or defensively, but he found ways to, in 2 games, be a big part of why they won those games.
And that, Zach, is the Gunnar Henderson that Orioles fans not only want to see, but the Gunnar Henderson that Orioles fans deserve to see. The one a few years back that had a chance to hit for the cycle by going 1, and he ends up going 2. The one that is giving that extra effort for ground balls hitting the hole, making these, doesn't even have to be crazy plays, but the Gunnar Henderson that is good at baseball, but also gives 100% effort every single day. That is the Gunnar Henderson that people want to see. The one that won Rookie of the Year, the one that is supposed to be the cornerstone or corner piece of this franchise. So for Gunnar Henderson, I'm not saying this series is the end all be all, but it would be fantastic if he could step up and just have the series of a lifetime here and carry that momentum going forward. Because like you said, Zach, the big plays, the winning plays, they're contagious. Winning overall is contagious. So it's not, he's a guy that really needs to step up heading into this series against the Red Sox for sure.
I mean, it's just, for me, it's not even with the dramatic part of this. It's just, he's your guy.
Yep.
He's your guy.
Yep.
I think he's a physically superstar, talented player. I think he is a superstar. He's not playing like a superstar, but is he a superstar talent? Absolutely. And if your best guys ball out, your team probably has a better chance to win. And that's just what it is. When Gunnar goes and plays well, the Birds got a really good chance to be extremely dangerous. And here's the opportunity. They need you. And I'm hoping it's this series. Again, nothing changes me with my opinion with Gunnar. He works hard. He busts his ass. But can you make the plays that can be the difference for your squad? That's what we're going to see tonight. So we're going to see this series, and we'll find out. And above all, it's not even that of saying, hey, the fans, they deserve it. They want it. No, like the Orioles need him. The Orioles just flat out need the dude to go and be the dude. And if he is 85% of what he is offensively, this Orioles team's incredibly better. If he's 100%, well, damn, then things could get really interesting upcoming. But with all the injuries, you need your other guys to step up. Time will tell. I mentioned tonight, your number 2 and 3 RBI guys are out in Adley and Sam. Fourth is Gunnar. He's played every game. He should be up there more in RBIs. Well, let's see if you go and ball out in Boston, the team that they're playing with no fear and they're playing with house money because no one thought that they should be in this position after they had a little fire sale just 2 months ago. So if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show. This hat is giving me an itch. Taking this off. Oh man, I can't pull that look off. I swear I can't.
You're giving off Nick Saban vibes at Alabama.
I don't think
it 1,000% is.
You don't pull it off like Saban though.
No, I don't think that's the case. And I don't think that Joe would agree with that.
Nick Saban might have a better hairline than Ryan too. So that's
damn.
Hey, Rocco, you wanna
I'll get off the screen and I will I'll just shut the hell up for the time.
I was gonna say something else, but I'll refrain myself for a minute. Hey Joe, if you're ready, give me a thumbs up behind the screen. Beautiful. Well, it's good to connect here. You can disregard what was just said by Rocco there, but the Ravens made a big move here. Grabbed a center from Cleveland as a guy that's been around Cleveland and knows a lot about offensive line play. He also knows a lot about, well, I've been a recipient of what's good beef out there as well. So let's bring on Hall of Famer and HallOfFarms.com, Joe Thomas. Joe, you there?
I'm there, guys. Hope you can hear me. We had a little emergency vet appointment with one of our calves, so I'm coming from the vet office. It was all right. We had to give him some IV, some electrolytes, some glucose, and then I just popped outside and jumped back in the truck. But I'm happy to be with you guys.
Well, I appreciate it. Well, for those that know you as the Hall of Fame player, what about the Hall of Fame farmer here, Joe? Can you walk us through?
Not quite in the Hall of Fame of farming yet, but just trying to get a little bit better every day. Someday, hopefully, I'll be at least in contention. That's the goal. But yeah, I bought my farm in 2012 when I was still playing, and was just planning on having a little hobby operation when I retired, raising some crops, and then started getting into the beef world because my kids wanted some animals for Old McDonald's farm, and then started getting to Wagyu. So bought a bunch of Japanese Wagyu cows from out of Vermont and really started growing the herd in that direction. And it just became a passion project for me, just seeing, just like in football, hey, can I be the best at this? How do I raise the best, healthiest beef on planet Earth? Well, you got to start with the best genetics, start giving them the best care, treat each one like professional athletes. And things have taken off as that farm to table movement has really picked up a lot of steam in our country.
Certainly has. And I can say, hand up, I've gotten a chance. You sent me a package last year. Phenomenal. I just got to figure what's the go-to temperature for cooking a burger, by the way. I probably should ask you about this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm medium rare all the way. I think you want to be able to taste the beef. You don't want to overcook it and dry it out. Our stuff being Wagyu, it's got a lot more monounsaturated fats. It's the olive oil stuff, right? So it's going to stay juicy. It's going to stay tender. Even if you do like more of a well-done burger, if you're okay with crimes against humanity and you like to overcook your burgers. But the best way to do it is just on a hot top with some Hall of Fame beef tallow. You fry it hard on both sides so it caramelizes and get that nice crispy crust on the outside. Medium rare so you can taste the beef on the inside and keep her juicy, baby. Let's go.
Okay, now one, I'm starving. Two, you lined that up so damn well. So first off, I know you got a burger bundle deal that's going on right now, and you can go to hallofamefarms.com, right? I got that right for
Nailed it.
all the information.
That's right, brother.
Beautiful. And then one of these days I'll send you a video if I grilled well. I got to work on my grill master skills. My wife is the chef in the family. She's actually doing culinary school, and I'm just along for the ride. So I will definitely be looking for more advice, and I will be looking for some beef from Hall of Fame Farms. You would probably be a good guy to talk to about with Ethan Pocic then. You saw him up in Cleveland. We know how important the offensive line is in general. For those that don't know about Ethan, what are some things you could tell people down in Baltimore about a player that they're getting?
He's everything you want in a center, right? The first thing you want with your center, you got to be smart, right? Because you are the quarterback's right-hand man. You're his Robin, right? You're his eyes when he's looking at the receivers. He's looking downfield at coverage. You got to be his bodyguard protector. Make sure that you're changing the protection on the line of scrimmage to make sure he's covered. And then you got to be able to communicate with him, right? So if you are changing the protection because they're rolling the blitz and it's coming away from where you got him protected, you got to be able to move that protection. So you got to be smart. You got to be able to think quickly. That's exactly what Ethan can do at the center position. And then he's a big guy, right? He's not a little center. What is he, 6'6", 315, 320? So he can still move bodies in the run game. And we know John Harbaugh, he likes to run the football. He likes to clear space with those big fellas up front. So guy like Ethan who can move pretty well. He's smart. He's athletic. He's powerful. He's really a great center. And I think you guys got a real winner right there in the middle.
Well, it seemed like they were just waiting around for a long time, on what would be available. And that's kind of like in a Ravens way. DaCosta waits, sees what's available. They lost Linderbaum to the Raiders, obviously. And then whammy, here you go. And then you still got Derrick Henry and Lamar. And I'm just curious. It's kind of a little flip-flop in some ways. You guys got Monken, which we're actually having Todd on tomorrow, I believe. Right? I'm losing track of my time here. I think we're having Todd tomorrow. Having Flacco tomorrow as well. Gosh, okay, we're losing track of days. So I'm just intrigued on it, but it seems like a great fit. Am I reading this right? I forgot to ask you. In high school, did you play a bunch of positions? Is that true?
I did. Yeah, I mean, I did everything. Punter, kicker, defensive end, outside linebacker, fullback, tight end, guard, tackle. Pretty much everything but center and wide receiver and quarterback. And I didn't play in the back end and safety DB, but everything else, I never left the field.
So wait, you were a fullback?
Yeah, they would give it to me in short yardage. I actually played fullback like when I was in 6th, 7th, 8th grade when I started playing football, actually 7th and 8th grade. And yeah, I was a skinny kid. I was like 140 pounds at 6'4", so you can imagine the little string bean, nothing but elbows and arms and legs running down with the field. But nobody could tackle me being a big guy, and I had some speed, so I was deadly on the goal line. I was like Refrigerator Perry without the fatness.
So if we're talking about that day and age, because then according to your player profile, you were 6'6", 312 in the heyday, right? What was our size then in high school?
So I was like 6'6", 245, 250. So I was a pretty skinny kid. I had to gain a lot of weight my freshman year at Wisconsin. I got there in July at 250, and by the bowl game in December, I was 285. And let me tell you, in Wisconsin, with the available beer and cheese curds and beef, it was not the best weight ever to gain 40 pounds almost in 3 months. But I had to do it because I was moving from high school playing a lot more tight end, outside linebacker, defensive end, and I had to be 300. So as fast as I could get there, I was going any way I could.
Well, it's a good way up in Wisconsin. Makes a lot of sense. We're actually on people's journey of this, and now you're full-time farmer. Did you have any job going into college when you were starting off, or what was any of your first jobs, or was it being in the NFL was your first job?
Yeah, I would say that was my first real job, where you're telling the government and you have to pay taxes. Because I did landscaping and stuff when I was a kid in the summer, but I was always an active kid, playing a ton of sports. And I always try to encourage parents, like the best way to develop your athlete is to not pick one sport and just ride them into the dirt doing that sport year round. Like let them do a bunch of sports. And so for me, I was playing basketball a lot in the summer, and then I would just pick up little landscaping gigs, helping out when I had some free time to try to earn a few bucks. But I've always been cheap enough where I didn't really need a lot of money to be able to make the lifestyle work. And then when I was in college, just totally focusing on being an athlete and trying to train my body. And I picked up a few little jobs here and there. But again, in college, $5 for a house cup takes you a long way. And that and training table, you didn't need a whole lot else back then before NIL.
No, and now it's way different on how this all is running, and for many different reasons. This had a fun little pun. I think Rocco came up with this since it's Hall of Fame farms, and we're thinking of beef. Rock, you think you know where I'm going with this real quick? You want to do it or me?
Yeah, absolutely. Joe, thanks so much for joining the show first and foremost. So, yeah, talking about beef, you being in the industry now, I was just thinking from a football standpoint, if you could give us a player or just someone throughout your career that you had beef with and kind of why that is.
Oh, that's a good one. Terrell Suggs was a guy that I loved. We got along great. And we always had a little beef on the field, though, because he was such a spicy guy on defense. He never messed with me too much, but he'd always be messing and beefing with my tight ends. We called him the tight end assassin because he would ruin tight ends' careers. He'd line up over them and he would just get in their head, and they would always have the worst game of the year because he didn't care about his assignment. He just wanted to ruin your life as a tight end and make you scared, so you didn't want to do your job. So I always had a little beef because of how he treated my tight ends. He was just not fair, picking on the little guys.
That's fair, and I think we can kind of make this a segment and run with it going forward, Joe. But that's completely up to you.
All right, sponsored segment. I'm in.
I'm just saying, Rocco's good for things. We had well, actually, do you drink coffee, Joe, or no?
Big coffee guy all day. Espresso, man. Let's go.
Okay, so espresso, it sounds like you just like the espresso.
Yeah, I'm espresso.
Nothing in it, straight up?
Just black espresso. Fill it up. Give me like 12 ounces, like 6 shots. Let's go.
That's it. So it's great because Rocco played it off of he's a black coffee guy, except I've never seen him drink a black coffee.
I mean, like, Joe, let me defend myself here. I was drinking black coffee throughout my coffee drinking career for like the first maybe like 3 straight years. Ryan spends the weekend with me for the MLB All-Star game, and there's a coffee shop on the corner here in Philly, and it's called Blary's, and they do a honey bear latte. And I've since become a changed man, do the honey bear latte, and today I got a salted caramel cream cold brew. So the guys are busting my chops. It's understandable. They're making fun of me, but it's tasty, and that's kind of what I'm going for right here. So I don't know.
That sounds like what you ordered, Joe.
We'll allow it. It's not my order, but it sounds like my wife's order at Starbucks. Like if I don't write it down, there's no way that word soup ever comes out of my mouth when I'm ordering a venti latte double frappuccino with 2 pumps of vanilla-free sugar. And I'm like, can't you just drink a black coffee? It's pretty easy, let me tell you. And if you do it a while, you're going to like it. Then you don't have to worry about all this nonsense.
Sounds like you got the order down, though, so that's the most important thing.
Yeah, but I always screw it up. They always look at me like, you're a moron. Like, just tell your wife to call it in or something.
Thank you. I will say, at least when Rocco said, if you just tell them the honey bear, they'll get it. Like, it's on the board. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's cute. You got a honey bear latte. Whatever works, whatever floats your boat. Joe, I was trying to think of other beef moments then. Since we're on this topic and it's summer and people want to spend more, is there anything else I should know with Ethan? Or, I mean, there's a lot of beef in the AFC North. There's tough games. Is there anything else that Ravens fans should know about what they're getting with him besides that we've covered?
No, I think that kind of covers the high level, but I think when you're a Ravens fan looking at that swap, like I love Linderbaum. I think he's a great center. I think that he was not probably worth the contract he got. So when you look at the swap that they made, being able to get Ethan Posick on a much more attractive contract, I think it's a huge win, honestly, for the Ravens for where they're sitting and knowing that at center, it's hard to get a quality center who's reliable. You don't need a guy that's going to be open up holes 20 yards down the field. Like, that's not the job of the center, right? He needs to be the glue guy that gets everybody on the same page, that's reliable, that's got great technique, that can move people in short yardage when you need him to, that can get out and run a little bit. But I don't think that's a position, if I'm building a team, that I want to pay $15-20 million for. So to be able to find a reliable veteran like Ethan, to me, it's a huge win for the Ravens. So I love that move. Oh, I remembered another guy I had beef with, actually, former teammate of mine in Cleveland, Paul Kruger. So former Baltimore Raven, him and I became great friends when he came to Cleveland, but we had some good beef going back to the Ravens days. And I don't remember the game because I was not prepared for this beef, Hall of Fame beef segment. But we were playing in Baltimore at one time, and we were beefing like usual, and he was mad about something. He kind of gave me just a very brief shove after the whistle, and I may have sold it World Cup style just a little bit. You can look on the internet and find some of the memes of me just flying off the screen after he just nudges me, and the ref fires the flag out, and he looks at the ref like, "Are you kidding me? I barely touched this idiot." So you got to pull up that clip if you guys can find it after we get off. So me and Paul.
Do you remember what year this was?
I want to say it was the year before we signed him, so it was probably like in that 2012-ish range, somewhere in there, I would think.
God, I need this Hall of Fame beef. Who do you have beef with segment every single time, just so I can hear all of the former players. In the baseball side, we're hearing stories of the All-Star game and of the former guys that played. I'm like, hell yeah. Like, hey, we're all friends now, but like, tell me some of these moments. This is great. Well, yeah, I mean, you had a lot of, it makes sense. There's a couple Ravens in this for the beef. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, you Steelers, Ravens, Bengals. Yeah, I don't know. It's a little bit different now. We're guys, I don't want to say they're more friendly, but there isn't as much of I wouldn't say a hatred, but there was some ugly moments throughout the year in playing days. Even when my dad played, it was a lot uglier than it is now. Rick Sutcliffe, you remember that name? He just apparently was the guy that would assign who they'd throw at. It's like, all right, screw this guy, we're throwing at this guy.
Love it.
Things have changed. Well, Joe, to wrap it up, because another time we'll have to go out with like a ground beef blocker down the road here, so you can just keep promoting Hall of Fame Farms. I know you're a very active guy as well, so could you do me a favor? As we have this wheel, okay? We're gonna have at the end of the week, we're gonna have to spin this wheel, and someone has to do an activity. What is one physical activity that we should add to this list for our audience? Like, it'd be for me, Rocco, Zach, or Nate. What's an exercise that Joe Thomas would approve of us doing here?
Yeah, so I couldn't see exactly what everything was on there, but I would say, the
like
classics.
Wall sits, leg raises, push-ups. I mean, do you want to do like single like pistol squats?
Oh, those are nice. I would say plank, right? That's one of the best exercises. Like, for old guy like me with a bad back, building that core strength, just building up planking for time. You can do like the front core version, side core. You can lift a leg if you want to get a little bit more of that hip activation. You can even go backwards with your heel and your shoulders on a bench. You can put some other humans or weight like on your body. So I think that's one of those great exercises. You could, I don't know what you have accessible there, but some type of body weight row or pull up. Those are always great. Like I'm a big yoga guy. That's one of the things I always did throughout my career to keep me on the field and just really put me in touch with my body so I could sense if I had some imbalances and make sure I get in the training room, take care of something before it becomes an injury. So I think there's a lot of great yoga poses that when you hold them, they're pretty tricky. And I think they would be great little challenges to throw on that wheel there, the wheel of death.
Yeah, we might have the Joe Thomas wheel of death this time. So we're going to come up with a yoga pose. We're going to make Zach or Rocco or myself do a 3-minute plank. That will test the waters here. And you're a big cold plunge guy. So I might add that into a 2 or 3 minute cold plunge as well. So
yeah, if you have a cold plunge, holding your breath underwater, that is hard. And then you got to build that mental resiliency and toughness to have the discipline to shut your CNS down so you don't hyperventilate, when you hit that cold water.
Yep.
And then to be able to take your head underneath, that's a different ball game. You may need some medical personnel standing by if you do that challenge, though, just in case.
Perfect. We'll have it for Rocco, and to bring him back, we'll get him his caramel macchiato venti latte, whatever he's
Teddy
got.
bear latte. Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah, the honey bear
Exactly. Well,
latte.
hey, Joe, I appreciate your time. And for everyone else, if they want to look up all of what's going on with you, halloffarms.com, and then where on social media can they find you and all the good deals you got rocking?
Yeah, Hall of Fame Farms is Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. We got our YouTube page. We got a documentary filmmaker out on the farm doing all sorts of docs, telling the story for me of going field to field. And then we also have Hall of Fame guests out. We had Jared Allen the first episode. We did some calf roping. Second episode was Barstool Sports. Wisconsin comedian Charlie Barons was on. That's coming out, I think, this week. And so we're pumping all sorts of good stuff, getting ready for the football season. And then, as you mentioned, our website, halloffamefarms.com. We do nose to tail, so all of our cattle, utilizing everything, putting it on our website, selling it to restaurants. The greatest Wagyu and Angus beef that you can buy in the country. We treat them all like professional athletes, individual Hall of Fame feed ration for each one of them. And we're actually supplying the Angus for the Pro Football Hall of Fame gold jacket dinner coming up the night before Hall of Fame enshrinement. So it's a lot of pride, and it's a great honor for me and all my herdsmen to be able to raise the beef that's going to be served to the Hall of Famers and their families for this year's class.
Amazing. Well, I'm looking forward to all that content. I'm looking forward to getting my next order in here, and then I will make sure that what you're going to have to also send me, Joe. I will gladly purchase the next Wagyu, whatever the part that you said of what I need on the burger. Can you text me that, that exact, thank you. Okay.
We got you, brother. We'll get you hooked up.
I appreciate you, Joe. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me on the show, Ryan. Take care.
Thank you. Joe Thomas, everybody. I think we found a new segment of Who's Got the Beef. And of course it was two Ravens there. That was great. You knew Zach, I saw your face when he said Paul Kruger.
You're muted.
You're muted.
Sorry, was trying to be respectful with our guest on. Well, so Rocco, when Rocco and I was freaking out, because at first when Rocco and I came up with this potential segment, I was like, I don't know, it'd be pretty cool if you said Terrell Suggs. Someone like that.
You actually did 1,000%.
I did want to say I'm so mad because it finally loaded as soon as he hopped off, but I was able to find the flop. So
we got to see this.
I think I remember that actually happening too.
Hey, Zach, take the. Oh, wow.
And the best part is this was taken from a article written in 2013 labeled, what's the official? Can Paul Kruger and Joe Thomas coexist in Cleveland?
Love that.
What a moment. What a moment.
Yeah, he was definitely watching some World Cup before that.
He was. Definitely was. Well, that was a great surprise. So many different ways. I'm not kidding you though. Whatever he said on that to have for the burger, I'm dialed in. I want that. I need that in my life. And that was great. And also, by the way, besides all the beef talk, big fan of Ethan, by the way. So for Ravens fans, and coming from a guy that knew a lot about playing in the NFL and understanding what it takes. He also, in the past, we talked about the Iron Man streak. He was out there. He was battling. He understands what it takes. I think Ravens fans are going to feel pretty good that you're getting the stamp of approval from a man that made a damn good career out of being a Hall of Fame football player and one of the best left tackles the game has ever seen. And also, by the way, punter. That punter fullback, that has to be terrifying. I know saying he's only 245. He's still a unit.
Yeah, massive.
The fact that he played It's like one of those memes. It's like imagine finishing up like 7th period science and you got to go out on the field and go up against Joe Thomas as a fullback and he's like 6'3", 270 in high school. Like that sounds miserable. I would just try to get like after school detention or something like that and we'll live to see another day next week. But that's just me.
Man.
Yeah.
Well, that was both guests today. Fantastic. Got some great content. But above all, if you're also hungry, check out halloffamefarms.com and all the content that's going on there. And appreciate Joe Thomas, appreciate Marc Trestman, and we appreciate all of you and Zach.
We appreciate CQ.
And guys, I can't believe it is essentially here. It's about to be the fall semester. It's hard to believe that. And as you're getting ready to go back to campus, make sure your financial house is in order. And CQ is offering a free 45-minute financial wellness checkup. And checkups are for anyone, even if you're not a member. Trained financial counselors help you review your current situation and chart a path forward to reaching your goals. They will help you with topics like budgeting, savings, debt management, student loan, and much more. Schedule your free checkup at cqmd.org/schedule-n-an-appointment/ and CQ proud sponsor of the Ryan Ripken Show.
Just thinking, Rip, it would be a damn shame if we had someone on staff that was, currently in college that could pass along the word as well. But I don't know. Just me. I don't know who I'd be thinking of.
I don't know who that would be.
Also,
Also,
the
perfect cut to him too.
Like the Wizard of Oz, where it's like man behind the curtain.
It's like the sass meme that you always send to me when he's drinking the beer, and he's just like, "Yeah, that's Nate."
Yeah, I'll look into it.
yeah,
I'll look into it. Nice. That's all you can do.
His people will get back to our people.
Yeah.
oh, sugar. That's
love it.
It's a good kid. Also, we found out that of all the things, though, Nate and I are more similar than I thought.
In what ways?
The coffee.
Coffee.
Oh.
Yeah, Rocco's a grown ass man drinking like.
So the thing is, like, we did learn a lot today, Zach. Like it does, like when Rocco has like his crashes, it makes a little bit more sense.
Nate is gonna end up like bodying me like he did with that guy on his TikTok. And I'm just trying to stay in his good graces so I don't go viral for the wrong reasons.
Goodness.
That'd be good.
Oh,
I'll just shut my mouth now.
Yeah, that might be good.
Here it goes.
Good kid. Well, guys, we're wrapping it up. Orioles are taking on the Red Sox tonight. That's the big series of the week. The other news and notes around, like, clearly this is like the main one that all people have all eyes on. It is one of those moments where you're sitting here and going, damn, we're going to find out quite a bit. And with this series being set in all of baseball, the Yankees and the Rays, because the Boston Red Sox swept the Rays, they're within a game and a half of each other. The Red Sox are within 6 of the Rays now. Mm-hmm. And then, by the way, in the wild card standings, the Red Sox lead that final spot. The Mariners are a game back at 50-50. The Orioles and Twins are both 2 games back. And then, guys, the Astros and the Blue Jays and the Tigers all sit 4.5 behind. So look at already how things have shaped out here in just a week. Just over the last week, the Orioles were the team that were 4 back. Now they have moved within 2, and they are now playing the team that's right in front of them that they are chasing, and it should be a great season. And if we are a great series, hopefully. And we also, it sounds like we got to have Dr. Yoni back on, guys, to talk about this Adley wrist inflammation. And maybe we'll have more information on Sammy Basayo tomorrow as all this plays out, because Trump was activated as well. So Trump and Huff are the 2 catchers that seem to be available. I haven't heard anything yet on Sammy Basayo, but I'm assuming he will not be playing this evening for the Baltimore Orioles in any capacity. Put up or shut up, fellas.
Shane Baz is going to show up tonight.
That'd be nice.
2.85 career ERA across 37 innings against Boston. I'm telling you, dude. One of the reasons you went and got Shane Baz, I understand it was a little rough at points in the beginning. Dude knows how to pitch in the AL East. He knows how to pitch in big games in the AL East. So that's why you got a guy like Shane Baz. That's why you gave up the prospects to get him for moments like this. See what happens.
Yep. Your two extended Orioles, Baz and Bradish, in back-to-back games here. How you doing with all of that? Hey, before we cross this,
sneaking a Respucia from Norbit in there.
How you doing?
Yeah, you do.
How you doing?
Yeah, you do.
Why don't we cross streams real quickly from one stream to another?
It's coming. One sec.
Come on.
It's coming.
You can do it.
Yeah, it's coming. No, it's loading. There it is. Oh, there it is. Just as
and our friends over at AutoStream Car Care Center through the end of July. They have a great deal going. It is a nice, pleasant day in Baltimore, but it's going to get a little bit muggier the rest of this month and the rest of the summer. If you're having AC issues in your car, well, this is the right time to go get it checked out because AutoStream Car Care Center at any of their 11 locations is offering $100 off any AC service. All you got to do is mention my name, Ryan Ripken, or the Ryan Ripken Show, and whammy, you get $100 off any AC service that you need, courtesy of our friends over at AutoStream Car Care Center. And be on the lookout on Instagram and Facebook in the next 24 to 48 hours as we are giving away tickets to the Braves-Orioles game on Friday, courtesy of our friends over at AutoStream Car Care Center. Did I say friends? Well, I might have, but from that stream to this stream, appreciate our friends over at AutoStream Car Care Center, our friends.
Do you get a $100 discount if you say Ryan Ripken? Or is that just for everybody else?
For
I'm just
everyone
interested.
else.
Huh?
For everyone else.
Oh, but I think you should just do it.
Well, yeah, if I need my AC fixed, I will.
But do you have to say hey, it's me? Or do you have to go, hey, Ryan Ripken, thanks, $100 off? Deep diving questions. I'm just trying to figure out.
I say, howdy. My name is Ryan Ripken. Am I making this too? I go to a country concert. I go to Morgan Wallen, and now there it is. Howdy. No one says it that way either.
No,
Rip, they don't.
No one.
Nate, you say howdy that way? Howdy?
No. You went to Morgan Wallen?
I did. Ever heard of him?
Dude, I love Morgan Wallen.
I didn't know what you were doing there for a moment. You just
I don't
looked
know.
away and you stared, and then
I love.
Could you name two Morgan Wallen songs?
I can name a lot of Morgan Wallen songs. Me on Whiskey, Silverado for Sale, I Ain't Coming Back. I listen. I'm gonna show you my entire Morgan Wallen. This is my country playlist on my phone. It just starts with just the Dangerous album, and then it goes to his other albums. I have it all organized. I really, really like Morgan Wallen, like older Morgan Wallen. So that's your answer. There you go. I didn't go to his concert.
Well, I can tell.
Worked
So you don't like him that much.
I didn't have $800 to go to that. I wanted to see Ella Langley. I didn't have $800 to go see it.
Also, Ray Lewis came out on Saturday night.
I know. It was amazing. I saw it on Twitter right as it happened. It was
I
sick.
saw it live, Nate.
Dude, congratulations.
Thanks, man. It was pretty electric, I will say. But also, the only thing that was the problem for Morgan is we couldn't choose any other jerseys on Friday night. Like, are you shitting me?
You knew it was that.
Yeah, it's crazy that he wore a Ryan Ripken jersey on stage. Isn't that nuts?
It should have. I mean, we should have got him a Delmarva Shorebirds 35 jersey. That thing would have slapped. We're actually going to hang that one up in the rafters here. What do you think about that, Rock? How you doing?
I like it. Honestly, it's a very, very great movie. Underrated. It might have gotten 1 star on IMDb and, the movie critic websites, but Norbit to me was just childhood favorite
What about the Ryan Ripken Delmarva Shorebirds jersey?
Oh, I don't give a shit about that.
That's what we were talking about.
No, I don't care. No.
Zach, can you name another Morgan Wallen song?
Yeah, as someone who went to school in West Virginia, yes, I can.
That's good to know. That is good to know.
His newer music isn't that great. I think his old music is fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that happens to a lot of people.
Yeah, he became
I
washed
like the
after
new album. I
2023.
like the new album. But
It's not bad.
I gotta say, in Delmarva with the Shorebirds, chasing you,
Yep, there you go.
whiskey glasses.
There you go.
Shout out Brandon Hannafy, former teammate, friend of the program, on the Detroit Tigers. Good kid. Was an Oriole. They let him go, and he throws a sinker that just goes. It's like 97. Good kid.
He does what?
He throws a sinker that goes.
One more time.
That's all you're gonna get.
Ryan, can you guess how old I was when Dangerous came out? Can you do this? You think you can do it?
Let's see.
It was 2021 when it came out.
So you're 16.
Yeah, I was 16.
Okay. That was depressing to hear. That's tough.
I learned how to drive to Dangerous, the album.
How do you do that?
Yeah.
I don't know. I gotta ask the same thing about you, Rocco. How do you drink coffee in the morning with a bunch of random shit in it?
Well, this is a fiery Kevin. You know, they're both the same height, and one's nicer than the other.
Yep.
Oh goodness. Or Zach.
Louder going is that young Brad. He's got the temper that he does. Definitely.
I can see that. I can see it. Sure.
Well, kids, I think we hit our quota, right?
Yeah, you did great. You showed up on time. We were only 5 minutes late to this stream, which was fantastic.
That's what I said to him too. I said, "Wow, this might be the earliest he's been here in a long time."
We're making progress, Rip. We're getting there. One of these days, we're going to start this show at 3:00 on the dot. Everyone's going to be in the chat. They're going to be happy. We're going to be good to go.
Was I ready to go?
Zach.
It was like a buzzer beater.
It was definitely a buzzer
Could
beater.
we have started at 3? Yes.
Yeah, we could have.
No.
Would it have been interesting to see if we were all on the same page at 3?
1,000%.
Hey, Lowther, the one thing I'll attest to, can't say I always showed up on time for playing. Never missed on that, ever. And actually, I'm now working things because, Rock, are you on the phones? Hell no. Hell no. Zach, Nate, no, you guys aren't. Well, how you doing? We're trying to get better. But you know what? I am the problem. Nate, who sang it?
Guess I'm the problem.
There you go.
Morgan Wallen.
There it is.
Mm-hmm.
There it is. Perfect. You know what?
Smart, VT Raven. We're trying to do better. Trying to get our ducks in a row.
Oh, goodness. All right.
That's why we just put out, like now with the social media posts, it's like show will start at 3 or around 3, or, you know, I'm going to start putting in parentheses whenever Ryan decides to show up, and then we'll be good. But
well, hopefully, I appreciate it, Rock. Hopefully the Orioles can end the Red Sox 11-game win streak as it goes on here tonight.
hopefully.
That'd be cool.
You okay, Ryan?
I'm good.
You sure?
I'm great.
You want to spin that wheel and do one of those activities?
Well, we know you can't handle about 10 of these, buddy.
You want some black coffee?
Oh, yeah.
I'll take another black coffee. I need it.
All right, Red 7. You guys are all good kids. I appreciate all you guys. Thank you. All's good. I'm not going to let Rocco bring down that we had a great show with Marc Trestman, with Joe Thomas, and this great series kicks off. And we have a great show for you tomorrow. If you're listening right now, Joe Flacco, Todd Monken, and then maybe we're going to talk to one of the guy that orchestrated this Orioles draft this year. And you might find out a few little notes of just what the connection is to Ryan Ripken and the Ryan Ripken Show. A little, hey, how you doing? Nate, you can cue the music.
All right. It's either left or right. Don't tell me which one it is. I mess this up every single time.
Dang.
Got it.
As always, here on the Ryan Ripken Show, we appreciate each and every one of you. Have a day, have a night, have a great stinking rest of your Monday and enjoy it. And come back and see us tomorrow. Why? It's the Ryan Ripken Show. We do it live Monday through Friday, right here on YouTube, X, and Facebook. Appreciate you guys.